In this video, we will see how to present an image slider to later publish it on the site's homepage. Prior to adding it, we will analyze the regions that we will enable within the page, then we will enable them, and for each one, we will be adjusting properties. Let's take a look at the homepage of the site that we will be defining throughout this course. We want to show an image slider below the top header. We will often have a variety of ways to achieve a specific design. If we aim at pages that are not too heavy, or if we consider a simpler maintenance in the future, there are practices that will prove more convenient than others. As we build the site we planned, we will be mentioning some other methods that could lead us to the same results, all of which have their particular advantages and disadvantages. We will now design the home page. In the upper part of the page designer, we will have the name of the page that's being designed. This page is currently inheriting everything that we've defined on the template. When we set up the template, we mentioned that the home page is the only page on the site that will not inherit, from the template, the gray area used to publish information relative to the page's contents. We can see the regions enabled on this page by using the Scheme panel on top of the Properties dialog. The regions currently enabled are the same as those enabled on the template, which are Header 2, Header 4, Column 3, and Footer 2. Header 2 and Footer 2 will surely be present on this page. By looking at the home page of the target site, we will see that between Header 2 and Footer 2, we could use 5 different regions to achieve the design proposed. Those 5 regions between Header 2 and Footer 2 that will be enabled are Header 3, Header 4, Header 5, 1 column, any of the 5 columns, and Footer 1. The 5 regions between Header 2 and Footer 2 will have the following properties: 100% width, centered alignment, and each region will have its corresponding background image or color. Now, how could we solve this if we had more areas, each with a different background? We can present areas with different backgrounds in one single region. Now, let's think how we could have this design if we use only one region. Instead of having each region with its own background, we could use a single background image where the image would start with the background of the upper area, followed by the background of the next area, and so on, until all areas are included. And the region's background image would have the following features. Its height would be the aggregate heights of all areas. Its 1 pixel width would be repeated along the whole region's width. Let's now enable the regions required for the home page by using a region for each information area. We mentioned that between Header 2 and Footer 2, we will enable 5 regions. In this case, we will do the following: enable Header 3, leave Header 4 enabled, enable Header 5, leave Column 3 enabled, and enable Footer 1. Let's now assign the properties we know to each region. None of the regions that we enabled for the home page will inherit the template's GX portlets or properties. This will allow us total freedom to modify the values of the properties corresponding to each region. So, we define Header 3's height and alignment. We define Header 4's upper and lower margins, and its background color, and alignment. For Header 5, we define its height, its background image, and its alignment. The background image includes a repeated design. In order to set up the page as light as possible, We recommend that you use the smallest image in relation to width and height necessary, and then repeat it throughout the region. For column 3, we define its height, its background color, and alignment. For footer 1, we define its upper and lower margins, its background color, and its alignment. We do a preview of the page to see how the regions are presented with the adjustments we've just introduced. Now let's add the corresponding GX portlet to present an image slider. When we add this GX portlet to the page, we get sample images to be seen on the slider in the page designer. When we refresh the preview, or when we view the page in production, the sample images will not appear. Now let's customize this slider's presentation so we can achieve the design we planned for. When we run the mouse over an image, arrows appear on the sides to move to the next or the previous image. The arrows group includes several properties to set up their presentation. In this case, we want to hide the arrows. We could have selected that the arrows be shown at all times, the image with which they must be presented, and their location. We have several properties at hand to customize the presentation. Let's take a look at the target site. We want to show 3 images on the slider. We select the images we want to present, which are already available on the site because we've already uploaded them in the video where we presented the centralized management of the designer images. To assign these images, we confirm the action and click on another property to see the change in the page designer. We refresh the page's preview to see how it's looking. One thing to note about the slider is that each image has a different background color, and the slider is to be shown to 100% of the browser's width, regardless of the resolution that's used. If we're viewing the site with a resolution of 1280 pixels wide, we will not notice this because that's the width of every image. But if we view it with a higher resolution, we will see where the image starts and where it ends. For the slider to show 100% of the width, regardless of screen resolution, we will define for each image in the slider a background image. Upon the presentation of the slider images, for each, we select the corresponding background image. We had also uploaded these images to the site previously. For the functionality of presenting the slider with 100% width to apply, we go to the region's properties. And for the distribution of GX portlets property, we select the occupying 100% of width value. We refresh the preview, and now we will see the background of the images as we wanted it. We now continue customizing the slider. The description of each image is shown, and in this case, we do not wish to present it. We will want to show the buttons indicating the number of images and the image we're viewing, which also enable us to go to a specific image at any time, and we want to show these over the image in the lower part. We will now make these 2 changes. We hide the image title, and in the navigation group, we modify its location and the value of the upper margin property. We now refresh the preview. What we need now is for the slider to be shown centered. So we go to the sector properties, and we modify its alignment. Now our slider is just like the designer suggested. In the Scheme dialog, we can see the regions enabled on the page, and we can also see each GX portlet contained in each region. If we expand header 3, we will find a multimedia element we added, the slider. The name that appears is the title of the sector. In order to work on a site with easier maintenance, we recommend that you modify the sector's title and use descriptive names. So, we've seen how to publish a slider and the configuration of some of its properties. We also enabled the regions necessary for the site's homepage and adjusted those properties. In the next video, we will add an image gallery to the site that we're building.